Do you consider yourself to be a cultural omnivore? Or do your consumption patterns lean more towards either high or low culture? Well, before we can answer this question, we need to know a few things first. What is high culture? What is low culture? What's the difference? And what is cultural omnivorousness? High culture refers to the artistic products held in the highest esteem by a culture. We can define it as the culture of an elite, such as the aristocracy or intelligentsia. I understand high culture as the products consumed by the upper classes. So what I would classify as high culture products are classical music, opera, theater, ballet, art displayed in museums, couture, pottery, and classic literature. Because to appreciate these products, we need knowledge related to the techniques and skills to produce the art form. Low culture refers to the products consumed by the less well educated or the masses. These include gossip magazines, reality television, and popular music. These products are easier to understand and appreciate because the main consumers are the masses.
Okay.
They appeal to the majority because of their accessibility, regardless of education or wealth. We can say that high culture are labeled as the classics, while low culture are the fan favorites. Both are iconic products, but to know if something is a classic, you'd need a more in depth study of a particular industry or artistic genre, while fan favorites are easily discovered regardless of one's background and introduced to us easily through peers, family, and online, taking much less effort to be appreciated. Let's take a look at music. The high culture side would be the classical music. To someone who has no relation to it, it may sound boring or even a waste of time. It doesn't even have lyrics. But to those who have at least some background, they can appreciate the art because they are aware of the effort and skill it takes to achieve a specific quality of sound with the instruments and the musicality required to make the piece come to life. The low culture side would then be pop music. This type of music is easier to understand or feels more relatable because of the simple chord progressions utilized by the composer, producer, or writer. Here's a list of songs that follow the same four chord progressions. The lyrics of pop music are another aspect that appeals to the majority. Most pop music consists of love songs, whether it's falling in love, out of love, heartbreak, breaking up, and so on. Many people have some experience regarding love, hence it's relatable to more people than classical music, where the ordinary person wouldn't know what to appreciate in classical music, aside from maybe the vibes. Though the high culture products are not accessible to everyone, we cannot conclude that only the rich consume high culture, only the masses consume low culture. We can take Canon and D as an example because of its use in weddings, movies, videos, and games that popularized it and made it recognizable to more people. Our exposure to high and low culture products aren't limited to our incomes, but are influenced by our level of education, our family, and peers. Hence, what we choose to consume isn't necessarily based on our social status. This is because high and low culture relate to one of the forms of capital, that is, cultural capital. Cultural capital is composed of three states: the objectified state, which are the products we consume, the embodied state, our knowledge and education, and the institutionalized state, which are society's views on these products. Our cultural capital reflects the social class we belong to, regardless of our financial status. Consumers of high culture products are viewed with more cultural capital because of society's positive view of high culture and assumes their embodied state to be one with much knowledge and a high degree of education. So we further assume consumers of this type are from the upper socioeconomic classes, even though it may not necessarily be true. What do we call this phenomenon of the masses consuming high culture and the elite consuming low culture? Well, that's cultural omnivorousness. It refers to individuals who consume both high and low culture. Modern media today shows us an increase in this consumption pattern where we can find products that contain elements from both high and low cultures. In the online spaces, we can find cultural omnivorousness in platforms like YouTube and streaming services. You can find products of either culture, classical music and films, or pop music and blockbusters or rom-coms, that you're free to consume regardless of social status. I attribute the rise in cultural omnivorousness in the online space due to the nature of meme culture and the removal of barriers that prevented high culture products from reaching the masses. You can find almost all books as PDFs or EPUBs online for free or purchase. There are virtual museums that exist, and if you search hard enough, the series, movie, play, or musical you want to watch may be available. Memes became one of the sources for my reading and watch lists because of the references they make use of that I want to understand and became curious about. This brings us back to our original question, And my answer would be that I am a cultural omnivore with a tendency to low culture. I have some exposure to high culture because my older siblings and I grew up taking piano lessons but didn't pursue further study. My sisters have also influenced me to like reading books, which served as my foundation to appreciate the books I read for school and to continue reading similar books outside of school. I read classics like A Tale of Two Cities, Animal Farm, Jane Austen's works, and the Anne of Green Gables series. And I enjoy the adaptations of some of these books, like Pride and Prejudice, Emma, and Anne with an E. But I have a tendency to low culture.
What a pity you did not bring your music.
I hope I can recollect the tune.
The main culprits of my current low culture consumption are my sisters, who introduced me to K-pop, K-dramas, manga, and anime. You may call me a ex-K-pop stan,
Watch your profanity.
casual Korean music listener, or simply a K-pop enjoyer. And as part of the K-pop community, these idols tend to join many shows as part of their promotion scheme, which is actually what introduced me to Korean variety shows and reality shows, where the majority of my consumption lies. And my YouTube recommended is the literal manifestation of this. So that's it for me, and thank you for coming to my TED Talk.